If you want to be extremely profitable and scale your Facebook ads, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Way too many brands are running Facebook ads and are either running it at very small spends profitably or are trying to scale and always getting stuck and hitting a wall. Now, I've managed north of $500 million in ad spend to drive over $1 billion in revenue for over 100 businesses. And the truth is, it's not that hard. You just need to know what to actually do. So in this video, I'm going to share 5 non-obvious things that you need to be doing in your Facebook ads account. And the very first thing is that broad targeting is a trap. Now, you might think I'm crazy for saying this because literally everyone, any advice that you listen to out there is completely focused on broad targeting. But what you may notice is that when you're running your ad account and you're running broad targeting, you're actually only targeting a pocket within that broad targeting. How broad targeting technically works is that it takes your information from your pixel, the information from your ad account, and the information from your website, and then it uses that data to compile the most likely person that will interact with your ad. The problem with that is that it's very hard to get beyond that broad target. For example, if you look in your ad account right now and you're running 100% broad, I could virtually guarantee that no one that's watching this who's targeting a full country is actually targeting the entire population of the country. In fact, you're probably not even targeting 20%. In many cases, you're targeting 1% to 3% of the entire population in a full broad audience. So here's the solution. This is exactly what you need to be implementing inside your ad account, and this is one of the only ways that you could actually expand broad targeting unless you want to just brute force your way through it and spend hundreds of thousands of incremental dollars that are likely going to be wasted. The best way to do this right now is to introduce interest-based audiences inside your ad account that are adjacent to your brand. Now, let's use an example of Nike. If you are a shoe brand, the last thing I want you to do is create an interest audience that has Adidas, Nike, Reebok, etc. That is way too broad and it has everything to do with who you're already targeting. What you want to do instead is take it one step down. For example, let's say you're a luxury shoe brand. Instead of targeting Nike, Reebok, and Adidas, what you want to do is you want to take it one stage away and potentially just target another luxury fashion brand, someone who has similar price points to you, maybe someone that you think is a North Star in a second category. What this is going to do is going to tell the algorithm and it's going to tell your pixel that, hey, there are more people that aren't just in this one little pocket that we're always targeting that actually might buy from us. And if that interest performs well, then the broad audience goes from here to here. And then you introduce another interest and it goes well and it goes to here. And all of a sudden, what you'll notice in your ad account, if you compare back over 30, 60, 90 days, is that broad audience is actually expanding. You're increasing the total addressable market. And because you're increasing your total addressable market, the broad audience is actually doing better and the interests are increasing the efficiency. The second uncommon learning is that good, even great creative needs a structure. I understand where many people come from. People think that creative is king. All that matters is your creative. The truth is, a lot of these elements actually matter. And if we go back just 4 years ago, creative was king. Today, it's not. The reason that creative was king and the most important variable is because this lines up with the time when the algorithm completely changed. At the time, no one really actually knew how targeting was working properly. So much broke in Facebook and literally brands disappeared within a matter of weeks because Facebook died for them. Now, I'm not here to scare you and tell you that that's going to happen again, but I am here to tell you that a proper strategy and structure is now critical to making sure the best pieces of creative get their adequate ad spend, are tested properly, and then ultimately, and most importantly, are scaled. If you don't have a proper scaling mechanism and a testing mechanism in your ad account, then you're putting yourself in a position where you're likely wasting ad spend, or worse, you have sleeper winning ads in your ad account right now that are not getting the spend that they actually deserve. Your account needs to be set up in a way where it's structured properly so that the best ads could rise to the top and the bottom ads could sink to the bottom. This is really key. We need to minimize ABO, we need to minimize manual adjustments, and we need to focus on algorithmic adjustments, focus in CBO structures, and specifically kill ads that are underperforming and focus on scaling ads that are above our threshold for amount spent and above our target return on ad spend. Don't forget that spend is performance. When your ads are spending, it's an indicator to Facebook that the ad is scalable. Okay, the third uncommon learning is that swim lanes are critical in an ad account. So think about an Olympic pool. There's 10 swimmers swimming next to each other. The water is shared, but they are each staying in their very own respective lane. This is exactly how you need to think about your Facebook ad account. So keep this in mind. 10 years ago, swim lanes were the most common thing. Then in 2020, with the algorithm shift, everyone started to group everything together, introducing Advantage Plus, introducing broad audiences, don't use your exclusions, limit all of the settings possible. And Facebook was claiming that this is significantly better for brands. Now, I won't lie to you. Brands that are spending $1 million a month, it is better for. The reason it's better for those brands is because they're spending so much on prospecting, they're not worried about a little bit of overspending on existing customers or retargeting. Because for them, spending $1 million a month, it's pennies. But for most brands, 99.9% of brands, that is not the case. Every single dollar counts. So today, specifically, the start of 2025 and beyond, this is acute to right now. We need to have swim lanes in our ad account. We need to have new audiences separated from engaged audiences, separated from existing customers. This is the only way in an ad account confidently that you can make sure you're spending on new customers, or you're spending on retargeting, or you're spending on existing customers. Also, while we're speaking about creatives and swim lanes, we need to make sure we're actually leveraging the best possible creatives at all times. Because while structure matters, creative with good structure is what's critically important. So right here on my screen right now, I have a massive board of all of the top performing creatives that we've either run, created, or been inspired by at the Moonlighters. These are top brands, inspiration. It's 100% free. You can get the link down below in the description. So the fourth most uncommon learning is that we should not be spending the same amount of money every single day of the week. You have better performing days of the week, and the money needs to be shifted to those days of the week. The feature is only and still available in lifetime budgets. This shift was so monumental that everyone has adopted the mindset that spending every single day of the week is actually better. Now, let's have a little reality check. If your brand drives better conversion rates on the weekends versus the weekdays, shouldn't you spend more on the weekends when people are most likely to convert? One of my favorite stories is with a pet brand that I've worked with. This pet brand in particular was spending a lot of money every single day of the week. And specifically, they converted really, really well on Saturdays and Sundays when people were home with their pets. So it's a logical conclusion that we made that we should be spending more on Saturdays and Sundays. Lo and behold, we tested it, and after just a few weeks, we found out that we could spend over 3 times more on Saturdays and Sundays compared to Monday through Friday. And the fifth learning is that cost caps are underutilized, and they should be used by more brands trying to scale. Basically, everyone running Facebook ads at this stage has heard of a cost cap. They've heard of cost caps, they've heard of bid caps, they've heard of cost per result goals, but most people actually haven't tried them. In fact, kind of a crazy stat, but 99% of advertisers are not running cost caps, but nearly 50% of the total addressable spend in the United States is being run on cost caps. What that tells me very, very clearly is that the biggest brands in the world are actually running cost caps. Now, the problem with cost caps, and specifically people trying to implement them for the first time, is really clear. If you set your cost caps incorrectly, you're toast. You're going to have no chance of the cost caps actually being followed, and in most cases, your brand will either overspend or spend on completely the wrong customers. This goes back to our strategy and structure. The only way you can implement cost caps is when you find steadiness in your ad account for an elongated period of time. I'm talking 90 plus days, and you want to scale. So the way that you could consider launching cost caps today is that if you're spending a consistent amount every single day, you're driving multiple purchases, we're talking 10 plus purchases per day, and ideally you're spending anywhere $500 plus per day, you can consider running a scaling campaign with a cost cap, specifically targeting new audiences only. What you want to make sure is that you don't think about this campaign independently and you treat it as an additive to your current account. This campaign might not spend in full. This campaign actually might look worse than most of your campaigns. But if your total account is above the goal that you've set for yourself, keep this campaign active because it's probably helping out the rest of the account. Now, if you've been trying to crack the code of Facebook ads for a while now, then what I broke down in this video is going to be extremely valuable. But if you actually want to see the step-by-step, the button-by-button clicks that I would make in the ads manager as I'm setting up the structures that we talked about today and a lot of other tips, then I'd recommend clicking this video right here where I go through my exact account structure, my exact strategy that we're running in 2025. If you got value out of this video, please let me know in the comments below. Happy to answer any questions, and I will see you all in the next video.